Hi everybody, it's Ms. Lewis coming to you remotely for our band lesson this week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we really hope this doesn't last for very long. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody again really soon. We're gonna start today by just reviewing some setup things, and if you already know how to set up your clarinet, I do want to go over some tips that are gonna make your clarinet work a little better upon setup. So we're gonna start with this piece right here. Can you find this piece? It has two corks on there's two long pieces in your case, but this is the one that has two corks. If you haven't, and maybe it's good to do it today anyway, make sure that you put some cork grease on there. So you're gonna put the grease on like this, but step 2 is to make sure that you're working the grease in really good. And the best way to make this effective is to work it in until it gets warm. So you'll feel the cork warm up, and then you know that the cork is actually really saturated. So pause the video if you need to and grease all your corks. Otherwise, we're gonna move on. So let's take this piece and make sure that you're holding it this way. This is upright. Can you find this key right here? This is the back of the clarinet. This long key points up. And we're gonna take our barrel and we're gonna put it at the top where that key is pointing. When you put your pieces on, make sure that you're not crushing the keys anywhere. Like these ones are really easy to bend. So make sure that you hold it at the top where there's no keys, and you're gonna twist and push at the same time. Don't just push because you could damage your cork. Make sure you're twisting. Once you've got that on, we're gonna use the mouthpiece. So go ahead and put the mouthpiece on the top onto the barrel that you just added. And to line up the mouthpiece, I'm gonna show you, this is called the table, and it's where your reed goes. The table has to line up with this long key on the back. So just make sure those are lined up. Next is this big piece. So make sure that this is where your thumb goes. Make sure that that is up, that you're not doing it this way. So it's going to go like that. Before you put this together, I'm gonna show you the holes on the front need to line up. If you put it on like this, you're gonna break something. So make sure the holes line up. When you're putting it on, you're gonna twist it just a tiny bit. If you were to twist it all the way around, look what's happening. Dun, dun, dun. These are gonna hit each other and something's gonna snap off. So make sure that the holes stay on the front when you're putting that together. And finally, the bell goes on the bottom. And the bell doesn't have a forward or a backward because it's the same all the way around. So we're gonna put the bell on the bottom. And again, if these are still hard to put together, every time you gotta grease them and you gotta really work the grease in. And after the first month or so, you shouldn't have a problem. So if you still do, it means more grease. All right, we're gonna talk about reed setup, and this is important for everybody to review. So make sure that you are wetting the reed. You put both ends in your mouth. It needs to be pretty saturated. And we're gonna take the flat side of the reed and put it on the table. I'll do that and I'll show you. You can hold it there with your thumb. So it goes like that. And I'm not putting it higher and I'm not putting it lower. It's gotta be lined up exactly with the top. So you shouldn't be able to see the reed on this side. Some of you, when you were putting it together, were putting it a little too high and then you fixed it and then it started working. It won't work if you don't have a good reed setup here. It also won't work great if you have a broken reed. So I know that when we were lowering our reeds, some of you guys wanted to take your thumb and push the reed down. You're gonna break your reed that way, and at $2 a pop, it's gonna add up. So make sure that you're always pulling on the reed with your thumb on the bottom. So your ligature. The ligature screws go on the front or on the side with the reed. So I'm gonna put it on. If it doesn't go on, you might have it upside down. So make sure that the screws are on the reed side, that the screws aren't on the back. Now I'll show you, my mouthpiece has little lines on it that are really good for guiding this. It's hard to see. What if I go on this side? There's a little line on my mouthpiece here and a little line up there. You can see that one better. The ligature has to be between those two lines. But if you don't have those lines on your mouthpiece, there's another way to set it up. You can see that my reed starts getting shiny right there. As long as the ligature is on the shiny part and it's not above where that line is, then your ligature is low enough. If your ligature is too high, it's going to choke off the reed and it's going to make it really hard to play at all. You're going to get lots of squeaks. So this is so important. So make sure that you always set up your reed carefully. And if you find it's not working, sometimes just taking the reed off and putting it back on again, you might have shifted something and it'll work again for you. So without pressing any keys or worrying about how you're holding it, try to make some sound. Make sure your reed is good and wet. That is the sound that you should get if you're not pressing any keys. I have written a couple things on the board here. Are you squeaking? If so, here might be some of the causes. So the first two we're going to apply right now. The first one is try put less of it in your mouth. If you have too much of it in your mouth, it's going to squeak. So you can try putting less of it in your mouth. Another one I didn't write down was no teeth on the reed. So if your bottom teeth are on the reed, that's a guaranteed squeak. And then try keeping your chin up too. A lot of you will be tempted, and I was at first too, to say it's not working and go like this. So you have to keep your chin up for it to work. All right, if you need to pause it and get the sound going, feel free to do that. We're gonna try the next item, which is called tonguing. So we worked on this in everybody's lessons. I'm gonna see if you can make this sound on the reed. So I'm gonna tap the tongue with my reed without blowing very hard, and it sounds like this. So it's like saying two, 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 except my reed is in the way, so I'm tapping this. I'm saying two on this instead of two on the roof of my mouth. So try some of those. If that makes sense. All you have to do is blow a little harder. And you'll be tonguing. So you should hear that little tick, tick, tick at the beginning of each of the notes that you just played. All right. We're gonna try to put that to some music. So we're gonna go 2, 2, 2, 2, and then we're gonna rest. 2, 3, breathe in. 2, 2, 2, 2. Let's try it on the instrument. 2, ready? I'll go first. Ready? So here we go. I'm gonna count you in. Let's try it. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last time. 2, 3, and go. All right, good. We're gonna go back to just making some long sounds because long tones are really important. So this time instead, we're gonna do a whole note, which is a beat that lasts for 4. I'll go first. Ready, your turn. 2, together, and go. 1 more time, and ready, and go. Okay, on the next one, we're gonna go back to tonguing 4. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, again, and go. Good. If you ever want to play along to a drum track, all I did was Google drum 70 for that because it was 70 beats per minute that the drummer was playing. There's lots of drum tracks online. It's kind of fun to play along with when you don't have someone next to you to play with. Good, so the next thing we're gonna do is add some fingers. So I wanna make sure that your right thumb is under this hook like this. I'll show you on this side. I'm not gonna like put it in my hand like this. I'm gonna put my thumbnail right underneath this. And it might feel a little rough right now. Everybody gets a little bit of a callus when they play clarinet, but you get used to it, I promise. And then our left hand goes on top. So our thumb, we're gonna put our thumb on this hole, not on the big key, but on the hole, and you have to cover the hole all the way. You'll notice number 3 of why you're squeaking is, are you covering those holes all the way? If it lets a little bit of air out, sometimes it squeaks. And then we're just gonna put our finger on the top. So thumb and top, so you're just like pinching between these 2 fingers and no other fingers needed yet. And if we play that note, you might have guessed, it's going to get lower because we're adding fingers. So go ahead and try to play that note with me. Ready? Good. So we're going to tongue some notes. We're going to go. Let's go together. Ready? 1, 2, ready, and one more time. 2, 3, and good. All right. We're going to add one more note. If you are finding it hard to cover those holes, keep working on that. If not, we're going to go on thumb, top key, and the second one as well. So 2, make sure that you're on the hole and you're not pressing this one. You need to be on the hole. Here we go. Sounds like this. Let's try a long tone like that. So just play one note for 4 beats. 1, 2, ready. And one more. 2, ready, go. And as we're doing these, think about chin up, not too much mouthpiece in your mouth, and really covering those holes. A lot of you, if you have really small hands, you might be slipping off of it because you're scrunching up your hands. So you need to relax your hand and make it really big. We're gonna play that note on a long tone, and then when I say switch to tonguing, we're gonna switch. So here's long notes. Ready? 1, 2, ready, and go. 1, 2, one more long note, and go. Again, same thing. Ready. Last time. 2, ready, and go. Here we go. So let's switch to tonguing. Ready, and here we go. 1, 2, ready. Last time. 2, ready, and go. All right. We're going to alternate now. We're going to go 2, 2, 2, 2. Then we're going to lift a finger up. We're just going to do this one. And 2, 2, 2, 2, and then switch. So here we go. We're going to start with both fingers. So 1, 2, tonguing, and go. Lift your finger up. 2, ready, go up. And then put it back down. 2, ready, and go. One more. 2, ready, go. All right, cool. We're gonna add one more finger right now. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3. And this one doesn't have a key around it, it's just a blank hole. So you're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and really spread your fingers out. If I was there, I would try to push your fingers down so you covered it. A lot of people will go up like this because our hands aren't used to spreading out. So thumb, 1, 2, 3, and try that note. And if it sounds squished, like that, that's because you're not covering the holes all the way. So just get them down. And if you want to pause the video and go look in a mirror and try playing in a mirror, you'll see it right away. You could even put this, if you have a phone, you could put your phone in front of the mirror and have the mirror there and do these videos along with the mirror. I find that really helps. So we're going to try a long note all together. Good, and then we're going to tongue. 2, 2, 2, 2. So let's try that together. Tongue 4. 1, 2, ready, and go. Good. All right, so we've done 3 notes, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to get your note chart. You should have something like this in your folder. So the scale that we use in music is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, or that's the one we're going to use in band. So you can see that it doesn't start on do, but you have a do right here near the bottom. We have a do and then a re, and then a mi. And you might have guessed that we learned 3 notes today, and those were those ones. So do, the lowest one, is with those all 3 fingers that we just did. So I'm going to get you to take a pencil and color that in for do. So you're going to color in the thumb hole that you covered in all 3. And then you're probably going to figure out right away, re has 1 less, and then mi has 1 less even than that. So you will be responsible for knowing those 3 notes right now, and we're going to be using them in our next Zoom rehearsal. So make sure that you copy those down and you know what they are. And just practice lots of tonguing and lots of finger hole covering. And if you find that that's pretty easy to do, you can even go add the fingers of your other hand, although that's just for practice. We're not going to use those notes very soon. You can try stuff like that at home too, just getting used to being comfortable on your instrument. So thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure that you practice these things and more before our next Zoom class. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's faces on Zoom next week. Thanks, guys.